Welcome, brave souls, to the chilling depths of horror and detail, the realm where the shadows whisper ancient secrets and nightmares come to life. I am your guide through the darkness, and on this channel, we delve into the spine-chilling world of Wendigo horror stories that will send shivers down your spine. First story. In the heart of the dense pine barrens of New Jersey, where the whispering winds carried tales of the ancient and the forgotten, a small town nestled in the shadows of towering trees harbored a chilling secret. The air was thick with an unsettling stillness, as if the very woods were holding their breath, waiting for the unsuspecting to wander too far into their depths. Deep within these woods, where the thicket grew denser and the sunlight struggled to penetrate the thick canopy, a long-forgotten legend stirred. Whispers of a malevolent force echoed through the twisted branches, and those who called the area home dared not venture into the forest after sundown. It all began with a hunter named Thomas Hargraves, a weathered man with a rugged beard and a haunted look in his eyes. He was known for his tales of the supernatural, spun around the flickering flames of the local tavern's fireplace. His stories painted a picture of a creature that lurked in the shadows, a creature so ancient and malevolent that its name was only spoken in hushed tones, the Wendigo. Thomas had seen it, or so he claimed. He described the creature as a grotesque fusion of man and beast, with elongated limbs and hollow eyes that gleamed with an insatiable hunger. According to him, the Wendigo was cursed to roam the pine barrens, its tormented spirit consuming the souls of those who dared to trespass upon its territory. The townsfolk dismissed Thomas as a madman, attributing his tales to the wild imagination fueled by too many nights spent alone in the woods. However, as the chill of winter descended upon the town, strange occurrences began to unfold. The first sign of impending doom was the mysterious disappearance of local pets. Dogs and cats vanished without a trace, leaving behind only the faintest echoes of their terrified whimpers. Rumors circulated, and fear gripped the hearts of the townspeople, but they tried to convince themselves that it was nothing more than a pack of hungry wolves. Then came the unsettling reports of people getting lost in the woods, never to return. Search parties were organized, but the forest seemed to swallow them whole. Desperation set in as the number of missing persons grew, and a collective unease settled over the town. As the snow blanketed the ground, a spectral presence descended upon the town. The once lively streets became desolate, and the creaking of branches overhead seemed like ominous whispers. The townspeople, now consumed by paranoia, avoided the woods at all costs, for fear that the Wendigo would claim them as its own. One fateful night, a group of adventurous teenagers, fueled by a dangerous combination of curiosity and teenage bravado, decided to investigate the legend of the Wendigo. Armed with flashlights and determination, they ventured into the heart of the pine barrens, unaware that they were stepping into the jaws of an ancient evil. As they delved deeper into the forest, the air grew colder, and the ominous silence enveloped them like a shroud. It didn't take long for them to realize they were not alone. Faint whispers echoed through the woods, carrying a chilling melody that seemed to seep into their very souls. Panic set in as the group stumbled upon a clearing, where the skeletal remains of animals hung from the trees like macabre ornaments. Suddenly, a bone-chilling howl pierced the silence, freezing the blood in their veins. The teens turned to flee, but the forest seemed to shift around them, disorienting their senses. Shadows moved in the periphery of their vision, and the whispers grew louder, urging them to succumb to the darkness. One by one, the teenagers vanished into the depths of the woods, their terrified screams swallowed by the ancient pines. Only one managed to escape, stumbling back into town with wild eyes and a tale of unspeakable horror. The townspeople, now unable to deny the existence of the Wendigo, faced a grim reality. The creature, awakened by the trespassers, hungered for more souls. Panic spread like wildfire as the remaining residents barricaded themselves indoors, praying that the Wendigo would not find them. But the Wendigo was relentless. Its haunting presence lurked on the outskirts of the town, and those who dared to peer out their windows caught glimpses of its twisted form in the moonlit shadows. Desperation set in as the survivors grappled with the realization that they were at the mercy of a vengeful force that knew no bounds. In the dead of night, a bone-chilling wind swept through the town, carrying with it the mournful cries of the Wendigo. The remaining townspeople huddled in fear, their breath visible in the frigid air. The once thriving community had become a ghost town, haunted by the sins of the past and the malevolent spirit that lurked in the shadows. The legend of the Wendigo had transformed from a mere tale told by a troubled hunter into a nightmarish reality that gripped the hearts of all who heard it. The Pine Barrens, once a source of mystery. Second story. In the heart of the dense, ancient forest, where sunlight struggled to pierce through the thick canopy of towering trees, Ranger Alex Anderson patrolled the vast wilderness. His duty was to protect and preserve the beauty that lay within the confines of the untamed woods. Little did he know that his routine patrol would plunge him into a world beyond his wildest imagination. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the moss-covered forest floor, Alex noticed an eerie silence that seemed to envelop the trees. A chill ran down his spine, and he tightened the grip on his flashlight. The usual symphony of nocturnal creatures was conspicuously absent, replaced only by the rhythmic crunching of leaves beneath his boots. Suddenly, a distant howl echoed through the trees, chilling him to the bone. Alex dismissed it as a mere wolf, but the unease lingered. Ignoring the prickling sensation on the back of his neck, he pressed on, guided only by the narrow beam of his flashlight. Deeper into the woods, the shadows seemed to dance and writhe, taking on sinister shapes that defied the laws of nature. Alex's heart raced as he caught fleeting glimpses of ethereal figures moving in the periphery of his vision. He shook his head, attributing the bizarre sights to exhaustion and the tricks his mind played on him in the solitude of the forest. As the night wore on, the temperature plummeted, and the air grew thick with an otherworldly presence. Unearthly whispers seemed to taunt him, carried on the wind that rustled the leaves above. Alex quickened his pace, his flashlight flickering in the oppressive darkness. The howls grew louder, now accompanied by guttural growls that sent shivers down Alex's spine. He stumbled upon an ancient, weathered totem, adorned with symbols that he couldn't decipher. The air grew even colder, and an unsettling energy surrounded him. A sudden movement caught his attention. A tall, emaciated figure emerged from the shadows. Its eyes glowed with an unnatural hunger, and its limbs seemed elongated and distorted. The creature's grotesque form was unmistakable, an embodiment of the Wendigo, a mythical creature whispered about in hushed tones by those who dared to delve into the supernatural. Fear gripped Alex's heart as the Wendigo approached, its haunting cries reverberating through the forest. Panic set in, but instinct guided him to retreat. Yet, no matter how fast he ran, the creature matched his every step with an eerie, almost supernatural speed. Desperation took hold as Alex stumbled upon a clearing bathed in the ghostly light of the moon. To his horror, he realized he was surrounded by a congregation of spectral beings, spirits of the forest manifesting in various forms. wisps of light and shadow danced around him, and the Wendigo's guttural growls blended with the symphony of the paranormal. In the heart of this surreal tableau, Alex felt a connection, a strange understanding that transcended the boundaries of the mortal realm. The spirits, guardians of the ancient forest, spoke to him in a language only his soul could comprehend. They revealed that the Wendigo, once a human consumed by greed, was now a cursed guardian of the woods, a reminder of the consequences of violating the sanctity of nature. With newfound purpose, Alex confronted the Wendigo, invoking the ancient symbols on the totem. The spirits responded, aiding him in a battle that unfolded on the ethereal plane. The forest itself seemed to pulse with energy as the Wendigo, bound by the spirit's will, retreated into the shadows, its haunting cries fading into the night. As dawn broke, the forest returned to its serene state, as if the night's supernatural events were but a fleeting dream. Alex stood in the clearing, the totem now radiating with a tranquil energy. The spirits whispered their gratitude, their voices fading into the rustling leaves. From that day forth, Alex continued his duties as a forest ranger with a newfound reverence for the mystical forces that dwelled within the ancient woods. The encounter with the Wendigo and the spirits became a secret chapter in the unwritten history. Third story. In the heart of the dense forests of Maine, where the trees whispered ancient secrets and the wind carried stories of the supernatural, there lay a camping ground known as Whispering Pines. This serene location, hidden from the hustle of the world, was about to become the stage for a terrifying encounter that would test the limits of love and survival. Meet Alex and Emily, a couple deeply in love with nature and each other. With the promise of a rejuvenating camping trip, they set out to escape the noise of city life. Little did they know that their adventure would turn into a nightmare. As they set up their campsite beneath the towering pines, the air seemed to thicken, and the forest fell into an eerie silence. Unbeknownst to them, an ancient force stirred in the shadows, waiting for the perfect moment to reveal itself. As night descended, a bone-chilling howl echoed through the woods. Alex and Emily dismissed it as the cry of a distant wolf, but the forest had other plans. Unseen eyes watched them from the darkness, and an ancient entity, hungry for human flesh, circled their camp. Around the crackling fire, the couple shared stories and laughter, oblivious to the lurking danger. That night, the temperature dropped, and an otherworldly wind swept through the trees, carrying with it the scent of death. The first encounter was subtle. A shadow flickered at the edge of their campfire's glow, disappearing before they could focus on it. Uneasiness settled over them, but they chalked it up to the wild imagination of being in the heart of the forest. The following day, a dense fog enveloped the forest, shrouding the couple in an unsettling mist. As they explored the wilderness, whispers echoed in the air, indecipherable words that seemed to claw at the edges of their sanity. Unbeknownst to Alex and Emily, they were being hunted by a Wendigo, a malevolent spirit that had taken physical form. The creature, once a human, now hungered for the taste of human flesh, and the couple was its chosen prey. As the day wore on, the whispers grew louder, and the shadows elongated into grotesque shapes. As night fell, the temperature plummeted, and the couple felt the forest closing in. Strange symbols appeared on the trees, etched by unseen hands, and the wind carried with it the guttural growls of the Wendigo. They barricaded themselves in their tent, clutching each other for comfort. The whispers outside intensified, now forming into anguished cries and chilling laughter. Something scratched at the fabric of their sanctuary, a grotesque imitation of human nails against the tent walls. The couple huddled together, their breath visible in the cold air, praying for the dawn to break the Wendigo's malevolent spell. But the creature was relentless, toying with their minds, feeding off their fear. As the night reached its darkest hour, the Wendigo finally revealed itself, a towering, emaciated figure with hollow eyes and antlers that reached for the sky. Its putrid breath filled the air as it circled the tent, a predator reveling in the terror it had created. With every passing moment, the couple's fear turned into a determination to survive. Armed with a few makeshift weapons, they burst out of the tent, confronting the Wendigo head-on. The creature, sensing their newfound strength, roared in fury. A fierce battle ensued, shadows dancing in the moonlight as the couple fought for their lives. The forest itself seemed to join the chaos, trees bending and twisting in unnatural ways. The Wendigo, though powerful, was weakened by the resilience of Alex and Emily's love. Just as it seemed the Wendigo would overpower them, the first light of dawn broke through the trees. The creature recoiled, its form disintegrating into a swirl of dark energy. The couple, battered and exhausted, stood victorious. The forest, once alive with malevolence, returned to its tranquil state. The whispers faded, and the symbols on the trees disappeared. As the sun bathed the whispering pines in a warm glow, Alex and Emily clung to each other, their bond stronger than ever. Surviving the paranormal ordeal had forged an unbreakable connection between them. The couple, forever changed by the haunting experience, packed up their belongings and left the forest behind. But as they walked away, the wind carried a faint whisper, a reminder of the otherworldly forces that lurked in the heart of Maine's wilderness. And so, the tale of Alex and Emily's survival became one of legend. Fourth story. In the heart of the Great Lakes region, where winter's icy breath cloaked the land in a blanket of snow, there lived a small town named Everwood. Nestled between the towering pines and the frozen expanse of Lake Superior, it was a place where tales of ancient legends and eerie folklore echoed through the chill night air. 16-year-old Emma Foster, a curious and adventurous teenager, had always been drawn to the mysteries that seemed to cling to the town. Her friends often teased her about her fascination with the supernatural, but Emma couldn't resist the allure of the unknown. As winter settled in, casting its frosty spell, strange whispers of a creature known as the Wendigo began to circulate among the locals. According to the tales, the Wendigo was a mythical creature with an insatiable hunger for human flesh. It was said to be born out of the desperation and cannibalism that plagued those lost in the wilderness during harsh winters. Emma dismissed these stories as mere campfire tales until one frigid night when her world would be forever changed. It was the dead of winter, and a heavy snowfall had blanketed Everwood in a thick layer of white. Emma, fueled by her insatiable curiosity, convinced her friends Alex and Lily to join her on a midnight adventure to explore the frozen shores of Lake Superior. Armed with flashlights and a sense of excitement, they ventured into the icy wilderness, the crunch of snow beneath their boots the only sound breaking the silent night. As they trudged deeper into the forest, the temperature dropped, and an eerie stillness settled over the landscape. The trio stumbled upon ancient trees twisted by years of harsh winters, their branches resembling skeletal fingers reaching out from the shadows. The air carried an otherworldly chill, and the wind whispered secrets only the winter night could comprehend. A sudden unease gripped Emma's heart as they approached the edge of the frozen lake. The wind howled mournfully, and the moon cast long shadows across the ice. In the distance, a figure emerged from the darkness, its silhouette elongated and unnatural. Fear clutched at Emma's throat as she fumbled to shine her flashlight on the mysterious figure. There, standing on the frozen lake, was a creature straight from the nightmares of Everwood's folklore, the Wendigo. Its eyes glowed a malevolent red, and its emaciated form seemed to meld with the surrounding shadows. The air grew colder, and the whispers of the wind intensified, forming haunting words that echoed through Emma's mind. Frozen in terror, the trio watched as the Wendigo approached. Its movements were deliberate, each step leaving a chilling imprint on the snow. Panic set in, and as the creature drew near, the Wendigo's gaze fixed on Emma, its eyes penetrating her soul. Paralyzed by fear, she felt the creature's presence seeping into her very being. The whispers in the wind transformed into ghostly voices, urging her to run, to escape the clutches of the ancient evil that stood before her. With a surge of adrenaline, Emma broke free from the creature's hypnotic hold and sprinted through the snow-laden woods. The wind howled in her ears, and the whispers grew louder, filling the air with a cacophony of haunting voices. The Wendigo pursued, its unearthly wails reverberating through the night. As Emma raced through the frozen landscape, her breath visible in the cold air, she stumbled upon an old, dilapidated cabin hidden in the woods. Desperation pushed her to the door, and with trembling hands, she flung it open, seeking refuge from the pursuing nightmare. Inside the cabin, the air was thick with the scent of decay, and the flickering light of an ancient lantern barely illuminated the room. Emma's heart pounded in her chest as she searched for a hiding place. In the corner, she found a dusty, tattered journal, a relic of someone who had faced the Wendigo before. As she flipped through the pages, the journal revealed the story of a survivor who had encountered the creature and lived to tell the tale. The pages spoke of an ancient ritual, a way to ward off the Wendigo's curse and escape its clutches. Armed with this newfound knowledge, Emma steeled herself for the confrontation ahead. The cabin door burst open with an otherworldly force, and the Wendigo's monstrous form filled the doorway. Emma, fueled by newfound determination, recited the ritual from the journal with trembling but resolute words. The air crackled with energy as the ancient incantation echoed through the cabin. To her surprise, the Wendigo recoiled, its red eyes narrowing in pain. The whispers in the wind turned into agonized cries, and for a moment, it seemed as though the creature was held at bay by the power of the ritual. Seizing the opportunity, Emma gathered her strength and raced out of the cabin, leaving the Wendigo trapped in the ancient refuge. As she emerged into the cold night air, Emma reunited with Alex and Lily, who had narrowly escaped the creature's pursuit. The trio sprinted through the snowy forest, the echoes of the ritual still lingering in the air. The Wendigo's anguished cries faded into the distance as they reached the safety of Everwood. The encounter with the Wendigo left an indelible mark on Emma's soul. The whispers of the wind, once haunting and foreboding, now carried a sense of gratitude. The town of Everwood, though forever changed by the supernatural, continued its existence under the watchful gaze of the ancient pines and the frozen expanse of Lake Superior. As winter gradually relinquished its grip on the Great Lakes region, Emma Foster became the keeper of a chilling tale, a story of a teenager who faced the legendary Wendigo and emerged from the encounter with a newfound respect for the mysteries that lurked in the shadows of the winter night. The echoes of that fateful night. Fifth story. The air in the Great Lake region of Canada hung heavy with the scent of pine and the distant promise of adventure. Sarah, a nature enthusiast with a thirst for the unknown, convinced her friends, Jake and Emily, to embark on a camping trip deep into the heart of the wilderness. Little did they know that their journey would soon take a dark and terrifying turn. The trio set up camp near a tranquil lake surrounded by dense pine forests. The sun dipped below the horizon, leaving behind a canvas of stars that shimmered in the inky night sky. Unbeknownst to them, the woods held secrets older than time itself. On the first night, the crackling campfire cast dancing shadows that seemed to whisper ancient tales. Sarah, Emily, and Jake sat huddled together, sharing laughter and marshmallows. As the night wore on, the atmosphere shifted subtly, the wind carrying eerie echoes through the pines. The next morning, they discovered strange footprints around their campsite, hoof-like impressions that defied any known animal in the region. Sarah, ever the adventurer, dismissed the prints as the result of a curious moose. The trio continued their journey deeper into the woods, oblivious to the growing unease in the air. As night fell again, the temperature dropped, and an unnatural stillness descended upon the forest. Sarah, now feeling a sense of foreboding, suggested they gather more firewood. Emily hesitated, her senses tingling with an unexplained fear, but they pressed on into the darkened woods. Their flashlights cut through the blackness, revealing gnarled branches and twisted shadows. A haunting chill settled in the air, and the trio felt watched, though they could see nothing. A distant sound, like the mournful cry of a distant beast, echoed through the trees, causing a shiver to run down their spines. It was then that they stumbled upon an ancient, dilapidated cabin. It stood alone, seemingly abandoned for centuries, with weathered boards and a roof sagging under the weight of time. Intrigued, they cautiously entered the structure, their flashlights revealing dust-covered furniture and an unsettling stillness. As they explored the cabin, whispers echoed through the air, whispers that seemed to come from the very walls themselves. Sarah, undeterred, pressed on, compelled by a force she couldn't comprehend. The whispers grew louder, forming a chorus of indistinct voices that spoke in a language long forgotten. Suddenly, a bone-chilling howl pierced the silence. The trio froze, their breath catching in their throats. The door creaked open slowly, revealing the moonlit clearing outside. Fear gripped them as they heard the unmistakable crunch of footsteps on fallen leaves. In the shadows emerged a creature, a grotesque distortion of nature, a Wendigo. Its emaciated form, skeletal antlers, and hollow eyes exuded a malevolent energy. The whispers intensified, revealing the tragic tale of a lost soul consumed by the insatiable hunger that transformed it into this monstrous entity. Paralyzed with terror, the trio watched as the Wendigo circled them, its eyes gleaming with hunger. The whispers intensified, conveying the creature's insatiable craving for human flesh. Sarah, driven by a sudden surge of courage, reached into her backpack and retrieved an ancient talisman, a charm rumored to ward off supernatural beings. With a desperate prayer, she held the talisman aloft, its glow pushing back the darkness that clung to the Wendigo. The creature recoiled, its unearthly howls filling the night. Seizing the opportunity, the trio fled from the cabin, their hearts pounding in their chests. As they sprinted through the forest, the whispers lingered, echoing tales of a cursed land and the tormented spirits that roamed it. The trio emerged from the woods, their breathless gasps blending with the wind as they left the haunted realm behind. The memory of that encounter lingered, forever etched in their minds. The Great Lake Region. Sixth story. In the heart of the Great Lake region of upstate New York, where the dense forests and icy winds whispered secrets to those who dared to listen, a chilling tale unfolded. It was a story of survival against an ancient and malevolent force, a Wendigo. The small town of Whispering Pines, nestled between the towering pines and the ominous shadows of the Great Lakes, was home to Jack Thompson. A seasoned outdoorsman, Jack spent his days guiding eager tourists through the dense woods, sharing his love for the untamed wilderness. One crisp autumn day, Jack received a call from a distressed group of hikers who had lost their way deep in the heart of the forest. The ominous whispers of the trees seemed to carry a message, warning him of the impending danger. Ignoring his instincts, Jack grabbed his gear and set out to rescue the stranded group. As he ventured deeper into the woods, the atmosphere grew thick with tension. The sun dipped below the horizon, casting elongated shadows that danced menacingly among the trees. Jack's unease intensified with every step, sensing an otherworldly presence lurking in the darkness. When he finally reached the lost hikers, their eyes held a mix of relief and terror. They spoke in hushed tones of an otherworldly creature, a Wendigo, that had been stalking them since they strayed off the path. The air seemed to freeze as Jack listened to their tale, realizing that the legends whispered around campfires might not be mere stories. With a heavy heart, Jack led the group back towards Whispering Pines. The journey was fraught with eerie sounds and glimpses of shadowy figures that vanished as quickly as they appeared. The forest seemed alive with an ancient malevolence, and the air was charged with a palpable sense of dread. As the group approached the outskirts of town, Jack felt a sudden drop in temperature. A bone-chilling howl echoed through the night, sending shivers down their spines. Panic set in as the Wendigo revealed itself, its gaunt figure emerging from the darkness with hollow eyes that hungered for human flesh. A desperate race ensued, with Jack and the hikers sprinting towards the safety of Whispering Pines. The Wendigo pursued with an unnatural speed, its unearthly cries echoing through the woods. It seemed to be fueled by the fear coursing through their veins. The townsfolk, allured by the commotion, gathered at the edge of town armed with ancient rituals and folklore passed down through generations. Jack and the hikers reached the protective circle formed by the townspeople just in time. The Wendigo halted at the mystical barrier, snarling and thrashing in frustration. The townspeople, guided by a wise elder versed in the ancient ways, chanted incantations that echoed through the night. The air crackled with energy as the townspeople united against the supernatural threat. Slowly, the Wendigo retreated, vanishing into the depths of the forest, its haunting cries fading away. Whispering Pines returned to an uneasy calm, the townspeople acknowledging the delicate balance between the natural and supernatural. Jack, forever changed by the harrowing encounter, became a guardian of the town, sharing his story with those who dared to explore the mysterious depths of the Great Lake region. The chilling tale of surviving a Wendigo attack became a cautionary legend, a whispered warning in the wind that carried through the pines of upstate New York for generations to come. The Great Lakes, shrouded in mist. Seventh story. In the remote wilderness of northern Canada, where the biting cold and unforgiving snowstorms dominate, a group of 5 friends embarked on a daring winter expedition. Their goal was to explore the untouched beauty of the vast, desolate landscape, seeking the thrill of adventure and the camaraderie of survival. Little did they know that their journey would soon take a dark and horrifying turn. As the group ventured deeper into the heart of the frozen wilderness, they stumbled upon an abandoned, dilapidated cabin buried beneath layers of snow. The eerie silence that surrounded the desolate structure sent shivers down their spines, yet the biting cold forced them to seek shelter within its decaying walls. Inside the cabin, they discovered old journals filled with disturbing entries, detailing the harrowing experiences of a group of miners who became stranded during a harsh winter decades ago. As the friends delved deeper into the accounts, they learned of a malevolent entity, the Wendigo, that supposedly haunted the region, preying on those driven to the brink of starvation. Dismissing the legends as mere folklore, the group continued their journey, unaware that the Wendigo was indeed very real and lurking in the shadows. As the days passed, the weather worsened, and their supplies dwindled. Desperation set in, and the once tight bonds of friendship began to fray. With no other options, the group resorted to the unthinkable, cannibalism. The first taste of human flesh sent shockwaves through the group, but survival became their all-consuming instinct. As they consumed the remains of their fallen comrade, the Wendigo watched, its malevolent presence growing stronger with each act of desperation. As the group continued their descent into madness, the Wendigo revealed itself, a ghastly creature with hollow eyes and elongated limbs. It stalked them relentlessly through the snowy wilderness, a silent harbinger of their doom. The friends, tormented by guilt and haunted by the Wendigo's relentless pursuit, began to turn on each other. In a chilling climax, the remaining survivors found themselves trapped in the same abandoned cabin where the horror began. The Wendigo closed in, its hunger for vengeance matched only by the survivors' desperation to escape their impending doom. The thin line between man and monster blurred as the group succumbed to the dark forces that now ruled their fate. Frostbitten Shadows is a tale of isolation, desperation, and the primal instincts that emerge when faced with the unspeakable horrors of the frozen wilderness. As the last embers of humanity flicker in the cold, unforgiving night, the true terror of the eighth story. In the small, secluded town of Ravenswood, nestled deep within the dense woods, an eerie fog clung to the air, shrouding the area in an unsettling mystery. Legend had it that every decade, a curse befell the town, awakening a malevolent force that hungered for more than just fear, it craved flesh. Emily, a curious journalist, arrived in Ravenswood to investigate the strange occurrences that seemed to escalate with each passing year. The townspeople spoke in hushed whispers about the harvest moon, a night when the curse reached its peak. Emily, determined to uncover the truth, delved into the dark history of Ravenswood. As the harvest moon loomed overhead, the atmosphere grew tense. Emily's investigations led her to a decrepit mansion on the outskirts of town, hidden behind overgrown vines and long-forgotten secrets. Rumors circulated that the mansion was the epicenter of the curse, and Emily felt an irresistible pull towards it. Inside the mansion, the air was thick with an otherworldly energy. The walls seemed to pulse with a sinister heartbeat, guiding Emily through twisting corridors and creaking staircases. As she ventured deeper, the temperature dropped, and the oppressive darkness closed in around her. In a hidden chamber, Emily stumbled upon a gruesome sight. A group of townspeople, their eyes vacant and faces contorted with madness, surrounded a ghastly altar adorned with occult symbols. Emily gasped as she realized the horrifying truth: paranormal forces had possessed the townspeople, turning them into cannibalistic creatures driven by an insatiable hunger. The cursed ritual was underway, and Emily watched in terror as the townspeople prepared to feast on human flesh to appease the malevolent force that gripped Ravenswood. Desperation and fear overwhelmed her as she realized she had become the unwitting witness to an ancient horror. With stealth and wits as her allies, Emily attempted to escape the mansion, but the cursed townspeople were relentless in their pursuit. As the harvest moon reached its zenith, the boundary between the living and the supernatural blurred, unleashing a wave of nightmarish creatures upon the town. In a final, desperate struggle for survival, Emily faced the sinister force that lurked within the mansion's depths. As the cursed townspeople closed in, their eyes gleaming with an unholy hunger, Emily discovered a way to break the curse, a long-forgotten incantation hidden within the mansion's archives. With trembling hands, Emily recited the incantation just as the harvest moon cast its ghostly glow upon the cursed town. A deafening scream echoed through the mansion as the malevolent force recoiled, releasing its grip on the townspeople. The curse lifted, and Ravenswood fell into an eerie silence. As dawn broke, Emily emerged from the mansion, the weight of the paranormal horror etched into her soul. Ravenswood, once plagued by the curse, now stood still and silent, its secrets buried in the shadows. Ninth story. In the remote village of Blackthorn Hollow, nestled deep in the heart of the British countryside, an ancient evil lurked in the shadows. The locals whispered of a malevolent force that had haunted the village for centuries, preying on unsuspecting souls who dared to venture into the surrounding woods after nightfall. It was said that this malevolent entity took on a sinister form, a cannibalistic creature that hungered for the flesh and souls of the living. The tale began with a young couple, Emily and James, who had recently moved to Blackthorn Hollow seeking a peaceful life away from the bustling city. Little did they know that the tranquility of the village concealed a dark secret. On their first night in their quaint cottage, the couple heard eerie whispers outside their window, the wind carrying the chilling voices of the unseen. As the days passed, the couple began to notice peculiar occurrences around their home. Objects moved on their own accord, strange shadows danced in the corners of their vision, and an otherworldly coldness permeated the air. Unbeknownst to Emily and James, the paranormal entity had set its sights on them, drawn by the scent of their fear and innocence. One fateful evening, as the moon hung low in the sky, the couple decided to explore the ancient forest that surrounded the village. The air grew thick with an unnatural stillness as they ventured deeper into the woods, guided only by the pale glow of the moonlight filtering through the dense canopy above. Soon, the couple stumbled upon an ancient, overgrown graveyard that seemed to be untouched by time. Weathered tombstones and crypts stood as silent witnesses to the village's grim history. Unsettled, they continued their journey until they reached the heart of the forest, where an ancient gnarled oak tree stood alone, its twisted branches reaching towards the heavens. As they approached the tree, a sudden silence fell over the forest, and the temperature plummeted. The ground seemed to quiver beneath their feet, and the couple felt an overwhelming sense of dread. The malevolent entity emerged from the shadows, taking the form of a grotesque, humanoid creature with elongated limbs and hollow eyes that gleamed with a hunger that transcended the moral realm. A guttural growl echoed through the forest as the creature lunged at Emily and James, its claws tearing through the air. The couple fought desperately for their lives, but the paranormal entity was relentless. It seemed to feed on their fear, growing stronger with each passing moment. In the ensuing struggle, the couple found themselves ensnared by the creature's dark magic. Their bodies became paralyzed, and they could feel the life force draining from them. The entity reveled in the taste of their terror and anguish, its insatiable hunger satisfied only by consuming both their flesh and their very souls. As the first light of dawn broke on the horizon, the ancient oak tree seemed to absorb the malevolent force back into its gnarled roots. The forest fell silent once more, leaving behind only the echoes of the couple's final, desperate screams. The village of Blackthorn Hollow returned to its deceptive calm, concealing the dark secret that lay hidden within its ancient woods. The tale of Emily and James served as a cautionary legend for generations to come, a chilling reminder that in the heart of even the most picturesque villages, an ancient evil may lurk, hungry for the souls of the unsuspecting. 10th story. In the heart of the British countryside, surrounded by dense woods and mist-covered moors, stood an imposing manor house known as Blackwood Manor. The air was thick with an ancient aura, and the once grand estate seemed to exude an eerie energy that sent shivers down the spines of those who dared to approach. Little did the unsuspecting residents of the nearby village know, a malevolent force lurked within the shadows, waiting to unleash its insatiable hunger. As autumn leaves fell like blood-red raindrops from gnarled trees, a sense of foreboding settled over Blackwood Manor. The distant howls of wolves echoed through the night, and the full moon cast an otherworldly glow on the decaying structure. The manor had long been abandoned, its once polished halls now draped in cobwebs and shadows. Legend spoke of a curse that had befallen the Blackwood family centuries ago. Whispers of witchcraft and dark rituals surrounded their name, and it was said that a cannibalistic creature, born of a forbidden union between the occult and the supernatural, roamed the halls after sunset. Locals avoided the manor like the plague, and tales of disappearances and unexplained deaths were woven into the fabric of the village folklore. The story begins with Sarah, a curious and adventurous historian with a penchant for the macabre. Intrigued by the dark history of Blackwood Manor, she embarked on a quest to uncover the truth behind the legends. Armed with dusty manuscripts and yellowed maps, Sarah ventured into the heart of the countryside, determined to explore the haunted estate. As she crossed the threshold of the decaying manor, a chill ran down Sarah's spine. The air inside was heavy with the scent of decay, and every creaking floorboard seemed to echo with the whispers of the past. Sarah's flashlight flickered as she moved through the grand foyer, her footsteps echoing in the empty halls. Unbeknownst to her, the paranormal creature stirred in the shadows. Its eyes, glowing a malevolent shade of crimson, watched Sarah's every move. A guttural growl reverberated through the air as the creature, a twisted amalgamation of human and beast, hungered for the taste of human flesh. As Sarah delved deeper into the manor's secrets, she discovered a hidden chamber beneath the floorboards. The room was adorned with arcane symbols, and a sinister altar stood at its center. Unearthly whispers echoed through the chamber, revealing the dark rituals that had taken place within its walls. The creature, drawn to Sarah's presence, slithered through hidden passages and secret corridors, closing in on its prey. Its grotesque form remained elusive, a nightmarish blend of claws and shadows that seemed to defy the laws of nature. Sarah's investigation took a sinister turn as she uncovered the journal of a long-forgotten Blackwood ancestor. The pages detailed a pact with a malevolent entity, a pact that granted the family wealth and power at the cost of their humanity. The creature, a byproduct of this unholy alliance, feasted on the souls of those who dared to enter its domain. As the clock struck midnight, the atmosphere in Blackwood Manor grew tense. Sarah, oblivious to the impending danger. A bone-chilling scream echoed through the manor as the creature lunged at Sarah. The grand halls bore witness to a macabre dance between predator and prey, as the paranormal entity reveled in the taste of human fear. Shadows danced on the walls, and the walls themselves seemed to pulse with malevolence. The villagers, sensing a disturbance in the supernatural balance, gathered outside the manor. Torches in hand, they recited ancient incantations in an attempt to banish the creature back to the depths of hell. The air crackled with energy as the battle between the forces of light and darkness unfolded within the haunted halls. In a climactic confrontation, Sarah, guided by the spirits of the Blackwood ancestors, discovered the creature's vulnerability. Armed with a relic from the family's past, she faced the entity in a battle of wills and ancient magic. The very fabric of reality seemed to tremble as the two forces clashed in a final, cataclysmic struggle. In the end, the creature was banished, its howls of anguish echoing into the abyss. The curse that had plagued Blackwood Manor for centuries lifted, and the villagers, once again, dared to approach the once dreaded estate. As Sarah emerged from the manor, weary and marked by the supernatural ordeal, she cast a final glance at the now peaceful Blackwood Manor. The mist that had veiled the cursed grounds dissipated, revealing a landscape transformed by the breaking of the ancient curse. However, legends persisted, and the memory of the cannibalistic creature that once haunted the manor lingered in the minds of those who dared to remember. Blackwood Manor, though now free from the grip of darkness, stood as a testament to the thin veil between the mundane and the paranormal, a reminder that some horrors were better left undisturbed in the shadows of the British countryside. Thanks a lot for watching the video till the end. Subscribe to our channel Horror in Detail. Drop your opinion.